Hello guys, I am Izhar Hussain and welcome to the class of Communication Systems and Technology. So in today's class, on today's session, basically we are going to discuss about what is communication because we are going to start our course that is basically Communication Systems and Technology. So for that, basically in today's session, the first topic is what is communication, and after that what is data communication and what are the types of data communication. So let's start with PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to share a screen with you guys. Yes. So first of all, what is communication? So basically, communication is exchange of messages between two or more peoples. In layman definition, basically when two peoples are communicate with each other, means conversation between two peoples is basically known as what communication. That message can be live message, video message, audio message, there may be typed message, so text message. So it depends upon your message. So message between two or more people means exchange of message between two or more people, that is basically known as what communication. So that is basically from the layman side. If I am talking about from the engineering point of view, then what is communication? That's important. Okay, so from the engineering point of view, its simple definition is that communication is the mechanism of sending, processing and receiving data or information by electrical means. Means first of all there's the sending mechanism of sending of the message, and then there's the processing. After that there is the receiving at the destination side of data or information by electrical means. By electrical means, it means that the signal, the transformation of message or data or information is in the form of signal, okay, in the electrical signal. So in simple words, communication is a mechanism of sending, processing and receiving data or information by electrical means. That is basically known as what? Communication from the point of engineering. Okay, so now what is data communication? It's clear from what the data communication means. The communication of that means transfer of data. So what is data communication? Basically transfer of data from one device to another. Okay, one device means from computer to another computer, or maybe from mobile phone to computer, or maybe another device. So the communication between two devices, that is basically what, okay, that is basically what data communication. But now between communication between two devices is basically in the form and by using some type of channel or medium. Okay, means two devices are connected by any medium or channel. That channel or medium can be wireless or can be wired medium. Okay, so the transfer of data from one device to another via some form of transmission medium is known as data communication. Now in data communication, what happens? Basically we have a channel. Okay, channel means the connection between two devices that can be wired or can be wireless. Okay, so what happens? First of all, we have message. Now it's a example. We have let's suppose message, hi, how are you? Okay, it's our message is what? Hi, how are you? Now basically I want to transfer that particular message. That message is what? Hi, how are you? I want to transfer message that is hi, how are you to the receiver side. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to divide the message into small chunks. That is basically what? Hi, how are you? Okay, so first of all, there's transferring of hi. So in the starting, there is basically conversion of that hi into binary code. Okay, so if there's conversion between, because it's processing. Okay, we have message. Now if I want to send that particular message, there is basically processing before receiving side. Okay, so before receiving, there is process, there is basically conversion of that particular message into binary code. After that, there is conversion between electrical signal. Okay, because the transformation of data or information by a channel, that is basically in electrical means. Electrical means there is basically signal. So now the data is transferred or converted into electrical signal. Now electrical signal is transferred via any medium, and after that in the receiving end, there again conversion from electrical signal to binary code. And that code is basically, the meaning of that code is what? Hi. So exactly in the same style, there is how, there is there is you. So now our message at the receiving end is hi, how are you? Okay, clear. So in this type, basically we are going to transfer our message to the receiving end. It's basically a little bit intro. We are basically in coming lectures we will cover it into detail. Okay, so now components of data communication, because in the previous example, this whole example, there are basically 2 3 4 main components. That is basically what. First of all, we have message. Okay, our message is what? Hi, how are you? Now we have message, and after message we have sender, which sends the message. That is basically what? Sender. That is basically device, that computer. Okay, and then we have receiver, because if I want to send that particular message from one point to another point, from sender to receiver. Okay, so there is basically receiver, and fourth one is basically medium, because from sender to receiver there is basically medium by through which our electrical signal or our message can be transferred to the receiving end. And then we have some type of protocol. By following that protocol, we transfer our data. So these are basically main components of data communication. Okay, so now directions of data flow. Okay, so first of all, in which direction data can flow, because we are basically talking in the engineering, from the engineering point of view. First of all, we have an example that is basically simplex. Okay, in simplex, so it's clear from the topic that direction of data flow. So in simplex, basically there is one direction only, means either it sends the data or it receives the data. So the main example is what? Basically, if we are talking about server and monitor. Okay, or you can say that from your CPU and then monitor. Okay, if you are talking about the computer, so on the screen there's only output, means only one direction of the data, means CPU or your server sends the data to the monitor, which you can see, but there's no any ability in monitor that sends the data back to the server. Or you can take the other example of keyboard. In keyboard you just type and sends the data. Okay, so it's basically only in one direction. So if there is the flow of data in one direction, that is basically known as what? That is basically simplex. Okay, so and other basically there is half duplex. If I'm talking about half duplex, it means there is the data can flow in both directions, means it sends the data and receives the data, but one at a time. Okay, which at the single time or at the same instant of time, there's only sending of the data or receiving of the data. I mean, it have the ability to receive or send the data. It have the ability to send the data or receive the data, means that data can flow in both directions, but one at a time. Okay, either it receives the data or it sends the data. So the best example of that is basically what? Walkie-talkies. In walkie-talkie, if you set the frequencies and you are talking to another receiving side, so you just send your message, and after that you say over, and after that the your other end, means receiver end, say transfer the message again. So in the same time, the same instant of time, only one can send the data. So walkie-talkies are the best example of half duplex. Okay, one is simplex and other one is half duplex. And the third one is basically in data direction of data flow is basically full duplex. In full duplex, there is basically both directions. The data can flow in both directions simultaneously. At the same time, you can send the data or you can receive the data. The main example is telephone. In telephone, you are talking, and other one is receiving your volume or your voice, and again he or she can reply at the same time. Means simultaneously he can receive the data or send the data. Okay, so these are basically main directions of data flow. Means data can flow in one direction, data can flow in both directions, but one at a time. And the third one is basically full duplex, means at the same time, at the same instant of time, there's basically flow of data in both directions. Clear? Okay, now these are basically directions of data flow. Now we are going towards the communication system. We are clear about the communication, we are clear about the data flow, directions of data flow. Now basically the important, what is communication system? So communication system is a system model describes a communication exchanges between two stations. Two stations means you have two computers, maybe one computer and another computer. Okay, so transmitter and receiver. One is your transmitter side, other one is receiving side. Okay, so one is transmitter, other one is receiver. So signals or information passes from source to destination through what is called channel, which represents a way that signal used to move from source to our destination. So basically in communication system, there is one is basically there are two stations. One is at receiving side, other one is at transmitter side. Okay, so signals and information can be transferred from source, means from transmitter, to receiver, means from source to destination, by using any type of channel. So so that's basically what your communication system. So in simple words, in communication system, you have two stations. One is sender, other one is the receiver, and one is transmitter, other one is receiver. In other words, so signal or information passes from source to destination, means from transmitter to receiver, by using a channel or medium. That is basically in channel. Basically, there is the movement of message or signal or information or data from transmitter to receiver. Okay, so that is basically what communication system. Okay, so now types of communication system. So there are many types of system communication system. So there are basically some important types of communication system. The first type is basically what? Optical communication system. In optical communication system, in the transmitter converts information into an optical signal. Okay, into optical signal means signal in the form of light. And finally, the signal then reaches the recipient. The recipient or the receiver then decodes the signal and respond accordingly. Okay, in optical communication system, light helps in the transmission of information. In simple words, at the transmitter side, your physical quantity, means your voice or any other message, is converted into the form of light, into the form of optical signal, and that optical signal is transmitted towards the receiver side, towards your destination, and then receiver basically decodes that particular optical signal into the this decodes that optical signal accordingly, means according to our message. So in this type of communication, in optical communication, light helps in the transmission of information. Clear? Other one is radio communication system. In radio communication system, basically radio waves or electromagnetic waves of frequency between 30 hertz and 300 gigahertz. Okay, so these are basically radio waves. Okay, and radio waves are basically types of electromagnetic waves, in simple words, EM waves. So they are generated by an electronic device called a transmitter connected to an antenna, which radiates the waves, because antenna radiates the EM waves. Okay, and received by a radio receiver connected to an other antenna, means at one side there is antenna and at other side there is also antenna, and one antenna from the transmitter side radiates EM waves or radio waves towards, and receiver basically receives that EM waves or radio waves. So in this type of communication, basically radio waves means the waves of from 30 hertz to 300 gigahertz. Basically, these type of where the frequency, these type of waves means the waves which have the frequency of 30 to 300 gigahertz are basically used in the radio communication. That is basically duplex communication system. Now, if we are talking about the direction of data flow, it's clear from that particular thing, direction of data flow, that is basically what duplex communication system. In duplex communication system, it's clear from that direction of data flow means in this type of communication, there is basically two equipments can communicate with each other in both the directions simultaneously, and hence the name is duplex. Okay. A type of communication system involves the sender and the receiver, where the sender is in charge of sending signals and the recipients only listen to it and respond accordingly. Such communication is also called simplex communication system. Other one is basically half duplex communication system. These type of communication systems are basically depend upon the direction of data flow. Okay, so in half duplex communication system, both the two parties cannot communicate simultaneously, means at the same time they cannot communicate. Okay, so it is at the same time means one only sends the data, another one is only receiving the data. So the sender has to stop sending the signals to the recipient, and then only the recipient can respond. Means if one's message is clear or transmitted, then receiver can respond accordingly. And other one is tactical communication system. That's important. In this mode of communication, communication varies according to the changes in the environmental condition and other situations. So this type of communication systems is normally used by army, and let's suppose this communication system is connected with your lens and your command network and your, let's suppose, soldier network, and then your wireless backbone network, and then your satellite links. So this, there is basically, in simple words, environmental effects, environmental conditions, if changes, then this communication varies accordingly. Okay, so means this type of communication or this mode of communication varies according to the changes in the environmental conditions and other situations. So this one is all about the basics of communication and communication system. Thank you guys. Allah Hafiz. If you have any question regarding to this whole lecture, so you are more than welcome. You can ask your questions or your queries by in comments, or you may send me a message or email. So my email is already given to you guys in the first lecture, introductory lecture. I'm again telling you, Izhar Hussain at bbsutst.edu.pk, and my mobile phone number is 0333 290 So if you have questions regarding to this topic, so you are more than welcome. Okay, guys, thank you. Allah Hafiz.